fine.
And then we'll do Hunter after that.
Fine.
Okay. Very quickly. Paladin very quickly, because we don't like
Paladin. Go!
3, 2, 1. Welcome back! We are now on to Paladin cards in KFT, and the website is sort of fixed. It's mostly fixed. It is mostly fixed. You'll see numbers bouncing around a bit. Where's our Yeti? Let's recenter our Yeti. Our Yeti's still 111. We're still centered. Things are good. Let's look at Paladin. Paladin! Do you want to start us off? What's your favorite Paladin card in KFT?
Oh my gosh. All right, we're going small here. We're looking at the Righteous Protector, which is a 1-mana 1/1 with Taunt and Divine Shield. Oh my gosh, having those Annoyatron flashbacks. This is a really good card. The score for this one is a 132. Also, is Light's Justice correct?
Light's Justice is correct, technically.
Technically.
You know Light's Justice is insanely high. We've been over this so many times as whenever. I always want to make it the best card. And you're always like, no. But it is the best card.
It kind of is ridiculous.
It is.
But anyway,
especially on a
Righteous Protector, it's a 132. And this card is just so freaking good. The fact that it is a more efficient Annoyatron is really ridiculous. And, you know, you put it down. They have to devote so much to take care of this.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, Light's Justice currently rated above Spiker Steed, rated above Outdoor Peacekeeper.
Oh my god.
No?
Oh gosh, please no.
No?
Please no. Please stop. Okay. Anyways,
that was Righteous Protector. We may lower Light's Justice before the thing gets published. I do like Light's Justice like almost that much. I probably wouldn't take it over a Spiker Steed or like a Bone Mare.
You wouldn't.
But like I'd take it over a Rallying Blade.
I
I may take it over an Ardent Protector.
Oh my gosh.
I'd probably take it over a Grimestreet Protector. Maybe not, like around there. Gastropod, like this is like we're around like it's high. It's at 190 right now. It probably should be like a 150, but like
Okay, so next card.
Next card is that's right. This is Paladin because we're sorted right now by like how good cards are, and then I remember it was Paladin, and they got screwed this expansion. Choblade Champion is next. It is a 97. This is a surprisingly okay card. I was surprised by what our algorithm said the number of times this thing's going to trigger is going to happen, and it's actually triggering a lot of health. And it is at its worst like a slightly overcosted Wolf Rider that also heals you for 3, right? Like at its worst, which is not a bad like downside condition because you pay 1 mana to heal 3 sort of like as a Paladin, kind of like it's not the worst ability to add onto a card. And that's the downside situation, right? The upside is it's on a board, you hit face a few times with it, you get healed more. Or like, you know, you eat something and like maybe a 1-drop in a class that can't like ping or something like that. Or you throw it into a totem and then you get healed more. Yeah, so 97 is okay. I remember there's like a lot of pretty bad cards now. Like KFT has a bunch of good cards, but KFT also added a lot of bad cards. So it's a little like everything's a bit inflated, right? Like that's why like Cho and Yeti's a 111 now instead of 106 too. Like part of it's curve, part of it is just that when you center things, everything kind of like moves by where the expansion takes you. And KFT is not Ungoro. It was not just power creep. It was like polarized, including some really bad cards. So yeah, the playable card.
Yep. All right. Next we have 2 interesting cards. One is Desperate Stand, 2-mana spell that says give a minion Death Rattle, return this to life with 1 health. So this is just like Redemption, except you get to choose whichever one. And it is a 48 on the tier list. Next, we have Dark Conviction. This will give people some flashbacks to Keeper of Oldemon. Dark Conviction is a 2-mana common spell that says set a minion's attack and health to 3. Not bad. But
so it's It's pretty bad. Like it's rated
Yeah,
this badly because it doesn't actually remove anything, and it doesn't even make it into like why is like execute so good, for example, right? It actually removes the minion. Why is like Hunter's Mark so good? Because it pretty much removes the minion.
humility. I mean,
Humility is one, it's not anywhere near as good as those things, and two, it makes the minion nearly useless, right?
yeah,
Like a 1/6 minion is pretty useless. It's not a Crypt Lord. It probably doesn't taunt. It can't grow, right? It's pretty useless. Dark Conviction turns a really good minion into still something on the board. Like you're not actually like getting that much like value out of this. You're kind of getting the correct value, and it's not actually a removal, right? Like if you think about why Keeper of Oldemon was so good, Keeper of Oldemon made Dark Conviction cost 1 mana, and it
yeah.
was a double thing in one card. So it basically cheated something like 2 mana for what it should be. Um, so that's why it's rated so low. I don't know. Maybe it's better than we're giving it credit for, especially in a class without hard removal. We'll see. Very open to potentially moving this up. I think it'll be pretty clear how good this card is. If you think like even like 2 mana damage wise, it should be dealing like 3 damage. So this thing would have to have at least 6 health for it to be a cannot remove the card but can deal 3 damage kind of deal.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I think that may be like a surprisingly low card. I think a lot of people think like, like Keeper of Oldemon, oh, so good, but divorced from its ability, right? Like humility,
Yeah.
not all that great. Okay, I guess. Eldar Peacekeeper, amazing.
So the next card is Howling Commander, which is a 3 mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. Draw a Divine Shield minion from your deck. The score for this one is really low. It's a 57.
Mm-hmm.
And the real problem is just, you're drawing a Divine Shield minion from your deck. Divine Shield minions don't necessarily, they're not necessarily that great, and you're just paying 3 mana for a 2/2. That you just lose the board by doing that.
Well, it's obviously not a turn 3 play. The real point is that you're not gonna have Divine Shield minions.
No.
Like, if you draw this card, like, halfway through the game, you very well may have drawn your one Divine Shield minion, if you had one at all, right? Like, Righteous Protector, even with an offering bonus, is only going to get picked, and even with how good it is, it's only going to be in, like, you're going to get, like, half of one in a deck,
Yeah.
Like, maybe a little more than that. So, like, Howling Commanders, and if Howling Commanders is really just drawing a Righteous Protector, that's not all that great either. Because you're now no longer on turn 1, right? You're basically saying, here's a Righteous Protector, but it will never be on curve. And when you're drawing cards, you probably want slightly bigger cards.
Yep.
So, too many variables, right? If you have a whole, like, deck full of, like, at least, like, 3, I'd say, Divine Shield minions, then sure, this card, like, skyrockets in value. But it starts out very small because its expectation is very small.
Yep. And after that, I'm trying to find the last card.
It is an Arrogant Crusader. I'll talk about it. It's 87. It's playable, but not good. 5/2 means you get 5 damage on the board at a later turn if your opponent doesn't remove it, which is a lot better than that 3/1, which can be removed by a ping and is just matching the mana cost in terms of the attack. So this actually goes to the high damage side, which makes it a bit more valuable. But at 4 mana, if you have a small minion on the board, you kill it. You can take your medium-sized minion and eat it, right? Like it has a very significant downside. Yeah, I mean, overall, if you just wanted to like say like, hey, this will trade with 4 drops, that's fine. But later on in the game, it's probably not as useful.
Yep. All right. That kind of covers the commons and rares. You want to move on to the epics?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do epics.
I get to talk about the best epic card. Paladins get a weapon. PogChamp. That means it must be amazing, right? Well, Paladins get Light's Sorrow, which is a 4 mana 1/4 weapon that says after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +1 attack. This is a score of 21 on the tier list. It is not good. You should not have that many things with Divine Shield, and certainly they have to kind of survive to, for you to equip this weapon afterwards, and then for them to lose the divine shield, it is just not worth it, guys.
Yeah, it's no Light's Justice. Okay, next is Blackguard. Blackguard is 104. It's actually above average, which may surprise people. But like we said, right, your hero gets healed quite, like, not infrequently in this game. We did some math, and it turns out, like, whether your hero gets healed or not, you have a chance to get healed quite a large number of times. And you're forced to heal your hero also a decent percentage of times, especially as Paladin. So this ability actually triggers. And when you heal yourself, you deal some damage, that's fine. But the more important part is that even if you don't heal yourself, this is not a bad card. 3-9 is not an awful stat distribution, and you end up with 6-6 worth of stats, which is what you expect to get from 6 mana, like maybe one more stat. So overall, it's kind of there. It's an interesting stat distribution to make, and you'll find uses for it.
Yep. And finally,
the legendary is Bolvar Fireblood. Another interesting stat distribution. It's 1/7. When you lose a Divine Shield, you get 2 attack. It has a Divine Shield, so it's gonna get 2 attack, and it's once you pop its Divine Shield. So it actually, like, deals quite a significant amount of damage. And on top of that, the last body is actually a 3/7. And a 3/7 is not horrible stats again for a 5-drop. And it had that Divine Shield that, like, pings something. So even without the actual ability that says after a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +2 attack, even without your other minions potentially gaining +2 attack, it's already pretty okay. And so you add a little bit on top of that, some chance for synergy is very low. And you have 109, which is, it's a good card. You would like to have it.
Yep.
So that's Paladin. It's nothing to get really excited about, but it can still keep doing its thing, right? Like, it loses a little bit of steam, but this Righteous Protector really kind of anchors the KFT Paladin. And so the Paladin can still get on the board. It can still buff its own things. It can still Steed later on. It can still Vine Cleaver. It just doesn't get a lot of new tools. And that's fine, because the biggest tool it needs was Righteous Protector or a 2-drop, right? That was the best thing to give the Paladin, and they got that.
Sounds good. That's Paladin, everyone's favorite class from Un'Goro. Fun and interactive gameplay, and you can see that they've definitely gotten a little bit weirder and a little bit smaller.
Yeah. All right. That's it for this one. We'll see you with the next class, Hunter.
Sounds good.
You want to keep going?